All right, in the last video, I said we would talk about what to do with that crate, and that's what we're going to talk about this time. So first, I'm going to draw another crate, following the same process that I did last time, using light lines. And I'm going to make it a little bit longer in one direction than the other. Whoop, that's not very straight. That's more parallel. Okay, I'm going to make it a little longer in this direction than I did this direction because I want my car to be more of a rectangle than I want it to be a square, or more of a rectangular prism than a cube. And I'm imagining a fairly flat car. I think there's not going to be very much sticking up, just enough to hold the crash test dummy. So I think maybe about this tall. And then this one, that one, and then, whoop, again, not very straight. So there's my cube. I want to draw the car inside of this cube, or cubic prism. So I'm going to add the back corners to this to make it fully transparent. So I'm going to have a parallel line to this coming through this point for the bottom corner here. Then there'll be a vertical that goes through where those two cross. And then a parallel to this line that goes through these two. And I didn't get that all entirely parallel, but we'll work with it. So the idea of the crate now is that I use that as guidelines for building the object that I want inside of it. For example, I'm imagining that my car is going to have wheels at the front and the back. So I'm just going to sketch these. And right now I'm working on this plane. Actually, let me darken this plane a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. This plane of the object, this flat surface of the cube, is where I'm imagining my car right now. So I'm going to put wheels front and back, and then I want the frame of it to, imagining that this is the front, the frame of it should come up a ways, have a little room for my crash test dummy, and then come down the back. So I'm imagining it's going to be something like that. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to make that part out of popsicle sticks. So I'm going to add a little bit of thickness to each of those, as if it was a popsicle stick that I've put in there, and maybe a little piece of popsicle stick that holds the top together. Okay, so that I could do as a two-dimensional drawing, just flat. I did not have to do that on the side of a cube. But the benefit of having it on the cubic prism is I can now make guidelines for myself. Parallel to the back, I put a guideline here and here where I've drawn my two connectors for the top. And now I know on this back one, on this back plane, I can see exactly where I'm going to be sketching the tops and of my cabin where the egg is going to sit. The wheel I can just move over because that's touching the very front of my object, so I know that's going to touch there. And this wheel is going to touch the very back. And notice I'm still working with my light lines. The only darker lines on here are where I darkened the edge of that plane for your viewing, so you could see that more easily. And now I want to add this popsicle stick that's going to come down and touch this, about this angle. something like that. And then I have another one here that's going to be going down to the back. Maybe something like this. And then I probably will have something to be an axle through the middle of these two, parallel to the front again. I'll have an axle coming through there, and that will be inside of, I'm thinking, a straw that will hold it in place. And the straw will need to be attached to my frame somehow. So maybe I'm going to have some little cubes in here that let's see, little cube right there that the straw glues to and the popsicle stick glues to. Same thing on the back. I'll probably have a little cube here and a little cube here. And I'm just making this up as I go because there'll be another one back there. Probably need some front back support, so I'll probably need to have a popsicle stick in here somewhere. Now I want one to match on the back, so I'm going to take a line across that same parallel, put a line across there, and now I have a place in the middle where I can theoretically put my egg, and I need to figure out some sort of a seat for that. But you can see where I'm going, I think. The crate provides you with the 3D guidelines that help you take a two-dimensional idea and make it into a 3D shape. Because the crate is easier to draw, you're just drawing all straight lines, and once you have your first three, they're all going to be parallel to that. It gives you a very easy way to sketch in a guideline for yourself to understand where do the 3D dimensions come in as you start thinking more about how this is going to put together. Once I'm done, I might go back and then sketch in a darker line the parts of the diagram that we should be able to see. I want this popsicle stick to be on the outside, so I'm not going to sketch the ends, but we would see through the middle of it. And I probably will have another one up here, which I'm just thinking about now, to hold the top together, which means this one I would only see part of. And so on. As I draw everything in the light line, it's transparent, I can see through it, and then I come back with my heavier line and pick out only the parts that I want to see as I'm putting together the final version. And that helps me both draw the design in 3 dimensions, but also later on draw it in a way that makes it stand out from the guidelines so I can easily see what is my object and what are the important points.